The special relationship between the US and the UK, it's a phrase we hear often. A bond touted as unshakable, mutually beneficial. But peek behind the curtain and a different picture emerges. This essay argues that the US, through its corporations, exerts a level of control over the UK economy that can only be described as dominance. This isn't about healthy competition or globalization, it's about systemic power imbalances where one nation's corporations wield disproportionate influence over another's economy and, by extension, its politics. The UK, once a global empire, now finds itself in a precarious position. American corporations are buying up key industries, influencing policy decisions and minimizing their tax contributions, all while UK wages stagnate, consumer choices narrow, and public services like the NHS face an uncertain future. This is the story of how the UK became a vassal state and what, if anything, can be done about it. Over the past few decades, American corporations have been on a shopping spree in the UK. It's a fire sale of British assets, with iconic companies and critical infrastructure falling under US ownership. From energy and utilities to media and technology, vital sectors of the UK economy now answer to American boards and shareholders. These corporations are driven by profit, not patriotism. Their loyalty lies with their bottom line, not with the well-being of the UK. This isn't just about economics, it's about control. When a country's essential industries are owned by foreign entities, it erodes its economic sovereignty. Decisions about pricing, investment, and even employment are made with an eye on American interests first. The result? British jobs shipped overseas, local businesses squeezed out, and a steady flow of wealth extracted from the UK and deposited into the coffers of American corporations. It's not just about owning companies, it's about shaping the rules of the game. American corporations wield considerable influence over UK government policy, often bending it to their will. How? Through an army of lobbyists who whisper in the ears of ministers and civil servants, pushing for favourable regulations, tax breaks and trade deals. Through campaign contributions which buy access and influence, and through the revolving door between government and the private sector, where former ministers and regulators take lucrative jobs with the very corporations they once oversaw. This influence is insidious and pervasive. It affects everything from healthcare and education to defence and foreign policy. The result is a UK government that often seems more responsive to the needs of American corporations than to the concerns of its own citizens. The UK is a cash cow for many American corporations, a land of opportunity where they can rake in profits while minimizing their tax burden. This isn't illegal, it's just good business, at least by the warped rules of the globalized economy. Through a complex web of tax avoidance strategies, including offshore subsidiaries, transfer pricing, and loopholes galore, American corporations manage to pay far less in UK taxes than their British counterparts. This robs the UK Treasury of billions of pounds every year, money that could be used to fund vital public services. It's a rigged game where the powerful and well-connected play by a different set of rules than everyone else. And the losers are the British people, who are left to foot the bill for the corporate tax dodgers. Section 5. The price of dependents' wages, consumers and the NHS. The human cost of this economic vassalage is undeniable. Families across the UK are feeling the pressure, with many struggling to make ends meet. While American corporations prosper, ordinary Britons are feeling the squeeze. The disparity between corporate success and individual hardship is growing ever more stark. Wages stagnate, the cost of living soars, and public services crumble under the weight of austerity. Everyday life becomes a struggle for many. The decline of British manufacturing, once the backbone of the economy, has left a void that precarious gig economy jobs cannot fill. The rise of precarious work, with its lack of security and benefits, has become the new normal for many. The erosion of workers' rights, all can be traced back, at least in part, to the dominance of American corporations. Workers are fighting back, but the battle is uphill. These corporations prioritize shareholder value over worker well-being, often at the expense of fair wages and job security. Their influence on UK policy has helped to create a more unequal and insecure society, where the gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen. Nowhere is this more evident than in the NHS, the crown jewel of the British welfare state, which is now under immense pressure. The NHS, once a symbol of equality and care for all, is now struggling to maintain its standards. Now even the NHS is under threat, as funding cuts and increasing demand take their toll. American healthcare companies circle, eager to carve out their share of this lucrative market, potentially compromising the quality of care. The prospect of a two-tiered healthcare system where the wealthy can buy their way to the front of the queue while the rest of us wait looms large. This stark reminder of the price of economic dependence is a call to action for all who value equality and fairness. The future of the NHS, and indeed the future of the UK, depends on addressing these deep-rooted economic issues. Section 6. Enabling the empire, the role of UK politicians and media. It's tempting to lay all the blame at the feet of American corporations, but that would be too simplistic. The reality is far more complex and involves multiple layers of complicity and cooperation. The truth is that they have had willing accomplices in their quest for dominance. UK politicians and media moguls who have enabled and even encouraged their rise. These individuals have played a crucial role in shaping policies and public opinion to favour corporate interests. Successive British governments, both Labour and Conservative, have embraced a neoliberal ideology that prioritises free markets and deregulation over the public good. This ideological shift has had profound implications for the country's economic and social fabric. They have rolled out the red carpet for American corporations, offering them tax breaks, subsidies, and access to British markets. These incentives have made the UK an attractive destination for foreign investment, often at the expense of local businesses and communities. Meanwhile, the British media, much of it owned by foreign billionaires with their own agendas, has largely failed to hold these corporations accountable. The media's role in this dynamic cannot be overstated, as it shapes public perception and discourse. Critical voices are marginalised, dissenting views are silenced, and the narrative of American benevolence goes largely unchallenged. This creates an environment where alternative perspectives struggle to gain traction. This is not a conspiracy. It's a system of shared values and interests. These shared values have created a powerful alliance that is difficult to dismantle. It's a system that benefits the few at the expense of the many, and it's time for it to change. The need for systemic reform has never been more urgent, and it requires collective action and awareness. Section 7. Brexit blues a deal with the devil. Brexit, the UK's messy divorce from the European Union, was sold to the British public as a chance to take back control. But for many, it has felt more like a handover of power, with American corporations waiting in the wings to exploit the UK's newfound vulnerability. Desperate for trade deals and investment, the UK government has been eager to court American corporations, offering them even more favourable terms and access. The result could be a further erosion of British sovereignty, as American corporations gain even greater leverage over the UK economy. Brexit was a gamble, a leap into the unknown. Only time will tell whether it will lead to a more prosperous and independent UK, or whether it will simply pave the way for a new era of American dominance. Section 8. The ghosts of leaders past Foot and Corbyn's fight against the tide. The story of American corporate dominance in the UK is also the story of those who dared to resist, Two Labour leaders, Michael Foot and Jeremy Corbyn, stand out as cautionary tales of what happens to those who challenge the status quo. Both Foot and Corbyn advocated for policies that threatened the interests of American corporations: nationalisation, stricter regulations, withdrawal from NATO. And both were met with ferocious opposition from the British establishment, including the media, the Labour Party itself, and even, it is rumoured, foreign intelligence agencies. Their experiences serve as a stark reminder of the forces arrayed against anyone who seeks to challenge the neoliberal consensus. They are a warning that real change will not come easily, and that it will require a fundamental shift in power away from corporations and towards the people. Section 9. The Curious Case of Reform UK, a new face but the same strings. The rise of Reform UK, a populist right-wing party led by Nigel Farage, has added another layer of complexity to the story of American influence in British politics. While Reform UK claims to champion British sovereignty, its ties to American figures like Elon Musk and Donald Trump raise questions about its true allegiances. Is Reform UK simply a new face for the same old pro-corporate, pro-American agenda, or does it represent a genuine attempt to break free from the shackles of foreign influence? Only time will tell. What is clear is that the lines between American and British politics are becoming increasingly blurred. The flow of money, ideas, and even personnel across the Atlantic makes it difficult to disentangle where one country's interests end and the other's begin. Section 10. Breaking the chains. Can the UK reclaim its economic soul? The picture painted thus far is bleak, but not without hope. The UK stands at a crossroads, facing significant challenges, but also holding immense potential for renewal. The UK can reclaim its economic sovereignty, but it will require a radical reimagining of its relationship with the US, and a commitment to putting the needs of its citizens before the profits of corporations. This is not a simple task, but it is a necessary one. This means enacting stricter regulations on foreign takeovers, ensuring that key industries remain under British control, closing tax loopholes that allow corporations to dodge their fair share, and making sure that everyone contributes to the nation's prosperity. It also involves investing in domestic industries and public services, creating jobs and building a sustainable future for all. It means challenging the dominance of corporate lobbyists who have long influenced policy to favour the few, and creating a more level playing field for small businesses and workers, ensuring fair wages and opportunities for growth. It also means fostering a more critical media landscape, one that is willing to hold power to account and challenge the narratives that serve the interests of the few. A free and independent press is crucial for democracy. This media must be empowered to investigate and report without fear or favour, providing the public with the information they need to make informed decisions. And it means building a more democratic and participatory society where citizens have a real say in the decisions that affect their lives, fostering a sense of community and shared purpose. This involves not just voting, but engaging in public forums, community workshops, and other forms of civic participation. The task ahead is daunting, but the stakes are too high to ignore. The future of the UK as a sovereign and democratic nation depends on it. The choices made today will shape the destiny of generations to come. The time to act is now.